Alright, cool. Let's take a look at your paper. Emily, format first. Up here, just your last name, page number is all we need. So you want to fix that. Everything here is okay, except I don't know if you're from the future or not, but it's 2016. I know you're probably looking ahead to being out of school, but you might want to change that. This is just the topic of your paper, so you want to change that. Remember we talked about not having just your topic as the title. We want something more creative. And to think about maybe the theme of your paper as part of your title. All right, so with your introduction, you want to start with some kind of attention getter. Instead, you actually jump right into the symptoms of Macbeth and his sleep disorder. And then the rest of the introduction is basically plot points. This is probably getting kind of close to your thesis statement. So here's order of operation: attention getter, expand on it, clearly state the book and the play, the play and the author, then which wraps into what Macbeth has for an illness, then introduce the main points, then your thesis statement. You have main points, kind of thesis statement, and lots of plot for your introduction. So we need to reorder this, make sure it's a true introduction so that the audience knows where you're going. Alright, so then you get into this next little mini paragraph here. And this is technically part of your introduction that you kind of skip down to. He has a disorder called sleep deprivation. Don't need commas here. Which is a lack of sleep for a lengthened period of time. Now, did you get this from an outside source? This definition, if so, you need to cite it. And this is all introducing the topic. So this all goes back into your introduction. Your next body paragraph is about what your first symptom was, which is irrationality. Let's go look at that, or irritability, I guess. Or maybe irrational thoughts, I guess. Alright, so we're talking about irrational thoughts. So strong topic sentences, which this is just kind of introducing the topic. We want a more specific thesis, for this paragraph, which is another issue. Before I continue, when you don't have a strong thesis statement down here, your paper kind of doesn't know where it wants to go. You're just going to rely more on plot, which is what you do here. So you need to have a strong thesis statement up top here in your introduction. So when you get to your body paragraph, he doesn't know how to deal with people, so he just kills them, no comma, to get them out of his way. I would love to see a quote or something from the play that would back this up, because I don't know if that's necessarily true. He doesn't know how to deal with people. And actually talk about what is the event that causes him to have this sleep deprivation. Go back to the whole killing of Duncan and talk about how that plays into, because I wouldn't say sleep deprivation was a factor of him wanting to kill Duncan, because I don't think he had that sleeplessness until after he kills Duncan. So anyways, this doesn't need to have a comma here, so fix that. And he also thinks he's invisible, but he would surely die. But again, go back to some quotes, prove that he thinks he's invincible, and then talk about why that's significant with these irrational thoughts here. Be more specific with your transition statement, kind of lead me into the next paragraph. But you don't have any outside sources here to talk about sleep deprivation, to give me some quotes, to tie it into a broader theme. That's why we need a strong thesis statement here. Alright, so now we get to hallucinations. Again, weak topic sentence. You just say, hey, do you know Macbeth has hallucinations? Here's some hallucinations. That's an effect of sleep deprivation. Next point. Do you get what I'm saying here, Cole? You're not analyzing anything. You're not tying it back into how significant it is to the story. You're not telling me why it's important to understand this, to understand Macbeth's downfall. You need to do that in here. To name a few, but then you only name one. so you probably don't need those. You need to reword this sentence. You finally use some quotes, which is good. Remember, it's 2.1.33 through 34. That's how you do your in-text citation. This would be your colon. You're introducing this quote, and then we haven't technically gone over this in class, but parentheses inside quotes, you actually use brackets inside quotes, and again, fix the citation. But yeah, you're not really doing anything other than saying here's some points. Don't have a strong transition statement into the next one. Remember we talked about in class, which actually this one might, but about having at least 7 sentences. But they better be 7 really good sentences when everything's said and done. And I still don't see any outside sources yet, so you're gonna have to add that into it as well. All right. So irritability, similar to your last paragraph, weak topic sentence, quote or example and quote. This is at least Cole trying to get to like some analyzing. He has trying to look back at this. Remember we talked about not having quotes from not doing this to your body paragraphs. He is mean to the witches. I am mean to the witches. So we don't want quotes that just back up exactly what came before it. But this, at least, you're kind of saying, hey, here's why this makes sense as a quote to use as an example. So anyways, throughout the play, comma, he demands answers and knowledge from others as well. All right, give me some examples. You obviously are short on paragraph length, so tell me where this makes sense in the play. I like this idea that it can affect others and hurt them, but it can also drive them insane. This is maybe kind of leading towards your thesis statement that because he's sleep deprived, his mental capacity has completely failed him to the point of making irrational decisions. I don't know. But you got to figure that out. So it's not really a good transition statement. And then you get to your last main point, which is about paranoia. And this is the part that I kind of am going to argue a little bit. It is not clear that he has a sleeping disorder until after this event. So this is almost like information that belongs in your introduction, okay? The idea that he kills Duncan, he immediately talks about how he won't be able to sleep. It's backed up later in the play when Lady Macbeth mentions to him after the banquet scene that he hasn't been sleeping. So any of symptom that you talk about should be after this. So I wouldn't say paranoia comes right at the same time that he's hasn't even actually begun his sleep deprivation disorder. So I would go back and really rethink that, because some of this stuff is good. I mean, this is good. I would use that for sure as an example and expand on it. I don't know if this is paranoia as much as just straight up realizing he's screwed. I don't know. But yeah, you need to go back and there might be a way to tie this in as a point. This is the word after, not as. Someone will kill him after he killed Duncan. I think there's a way to tie that in for later on. You could argue that he's paranoid later on because of what Duncan did. That someone will kill him. I don't know if it's maybe a direct quote later on, but because he does get confident after his prophecies, but he is paranoid of Macduff leaving. I would say he's paranoid of things like that. You can look at, and again, that's a pretty weak statement at the end. So we have your conclusion statement next. All right, so conclusion. I mean, yes, this is your main point. It's not really your thesis statement, so we want to go back and change that. I mean, we don't even need this in here. We understand that already. So you're going to go back through your main points. Again, this is a run-on sentence. And then you go back through your main points. But again, which is good that you do this. And then you try to get into your kind of clincher statement here. This actually, now that I tell you the other one, this is actually not a bad thesis statement. The idea that his deprived state of mind sent him into a dark descent of madness as he rose to power. That actually could be used as a thesis statement, I think. He fell faster than the rose, and this would be like a comma, or I don't know. I think I just reword this sentence. It sounds awkward being killed by Macduff at the end. And then you talk about Malcolm coming to the end, which I think is a weak clincher when it's really about a disease, and about sleep deprivation. We're excited. Page needs some work. Did you really look at a Understanding Psychology print source from 1976? You don't quote your own knowledge, which I don't know, Cole, if there's anything in here that is really external information. So, and then this is wrong too. So you just got a lot of work to do on this. All right, Cole. Took you a while to get this first draft, but hopefully we can turn this into another draft and a much more quality draft that reaches down into the third page more. So good luck.